Welcome to the Delhi Conference session. My name is Zuchamo Yanthan, and with me is Professor Parmod Kumar. Well, today's topic is titled as Business Communication, and the course code is BEGS 186, and this is offered from the School of Humanities, International Open University. Well, today's topic is titled as Business Communication. This is a very important topic, which is, in a way, important for us to understand what business communication is all about. And, well, today's discussion will be centered on understanding business communication, its importance, and why we study business communication and the significance of business communication. So today's discussion, we will be centering on this particular points that I have just mentioned. Well, the essence of communication is sharing, and hence communication skill is all about the ability to convey ideas, opinions, and feelings effectively and impactfully. And when we talk about communication skills, it is not only about the verbal communication, but it also includes non-verbal communication, and also in today's time we have the written communication, the technology that we use. So when we talk about communication, it is in a way quite broad, and understanding or mastering mastering communication skills is a very important skills, for not only for success in personal life, but also in professional life as well. And this is the reason why this particular course becomes very important. And of course, as I have mentioned, today's topic is centered on business communication. And so we will take forward in understanding what business communication is all about. Maybe you can share, then we can supplement.
So, we have done programs on communication skills a number of times, and our learners, our students in particular, they will recall all what we have discussed. So today when we are talking about business communication, let's look at the root word to begin with. Root word is communication, and the word which comes from Latin word communis, which is like sharing, which is like an exchange, no? So yes, this is a build-up on that when two or more individuals, two or more people share information for the sake of communication, for exchange, for sharing of ideas, thoughts, expressions, no? So when you mix it with business, it becomes all the more important. Like it becomes more and more strategic, where you have a purpose, you have and no one can underestimate the idea of business communication these days, because if you're casual about it, if you do not understand the essence and the impact part of it, then it will be a bigger challenge. So yes, we need to study this in a more specialized sense, in a more in a sense that research has gone on to say that lots of money is lost because of poor business communication, no? So you have already told that there are many types of communications, verbal, oral, written, and then there are in terms of types. So we can always discuss, and if there are more questions from our student side, we can take those up.
Yeah, and as you have mentioned, this is in continuation of the previous series which we have had. And the business communication, of course, it comes from the communication skills.
Yes.
And as it was already mentioned, that the very essence of communication skills or communicating is sharing, right? However, in the context to business, it is as you have also mentioned, it is a goal oriented, right? It is a purpose driven, like that way it is different from communicating with others. Here, it is in a business communication. It is a goal oriented,
Yes.
right? And which means time constraint is also there, right?
Yes.
And in that context, you are expected to communicate maybe
Absolutely.
ideas or maybe your projects, what proposals, in a more concise, in a more clear and briefly, in such a way that the other person to whom you are negotiating or conveying the message should be able to understand
Yes.
and maybe accept in that way. Once the other person is
Maybe
able
you
to
can
understand,
discuss.
accept.
Maybe you can discuss the same thing from the perspective of why do we study business communication?
Yeah, of course, that can also be done. Of course, so that way, it is very different from, like, business communication is different from the other communication.
Yes.
Because, like for example, in a social communication, it can be formal, it can be informal. Generally, it is informal, but in a business communication, there is no choice. It has to be formal.
Yes.
Right. It has to be formal. So that way, business communication is different from other communication. Yeah. Yeah, I think we can maybe further go about uh, in the next one, maybe why we study business communication.
Yes.
I think that we can further discuss on that.
No, like I think the point is that every communication has a business. Huh?
Yes.
But business communication is like real business. No. Huh. So in
Goal-oriented, very centric.
in that sense, I would say that our students who has joined, like business communication is is important because to add to your employment potential.
Of
Like if you
course.
want to
Yeah.
add to your you will be going to the interviews, and if you understand how business communication operates, what you have pointed out, that it has a more well defined crystallized purpose, that is, I think, very so to add to your employability, to add focus to your discussions, and like to manage conflicts also, like in when we work in a business environment, there are of many times we run into clash of opinions, and so how will you use your courtesy, how will you use your persuasion powers to overcome that. So yes, and like what are the various ways? For example, in the course of business communication, you'll need to write letters, you'll need to write emails, you'll need to talk to people over telephone, and you will, because it involves setting up a cross-cultural communication, because all of you understand that today we are in a neoliberal business world where multinational companies operate. So we need to understand not only like what our situation is all about, but suppose if your company has operations in Japan, in US or Australia, so you'll need to understand about other cultures. So business communication is overall like is about developing a multi-dimensional personality where you are able to kind of equip yourself with all what it takes. No, it's not simply about writing emails and letters, but it is about preparing a mindset to be able to understand and then deliver on your business front, and to overcome all the issues and challenges which come.
Yeah, and then maybe I can also add something else. Like as we continue to discuss on why it is important, to study business communication, as it is already discussed, business communication is different from the other other communication.
Yes.
Right. Which means, because some people, they are very informal, in their, both in personal and as well as a professional communication, right? And in that way, it affects not only the individual's image, but also it impacts, it gives a very negative image
Absolutely.
of the person as well as the organization. And now, talking about business communication, the very word business itself also indicates that you are representing a particular organization,
Yes.
right? A particular organizations or an institution.
Absolutely.
And again, the very word business itself is very much profit oriented, right? And if it is something to do with profit oriented, you just cannot help but you have to present yourself impressively, right? And to present oneself impressively, you need to acquire skills,
Yes.
the right skills of how to communicate, how to create a better impact,
Yes.
How do you, in a way, yes, how do you impress?
Time factor is important.
Yeah, so in that way, it becomes very important for individual
Yes.
to study business communication, so that if the individual plans to go into business, they may be able to prepare themselves, acquire with all the skills that is required in successful operation and running of a business. And I think that way one
Yes.
can go very well. And of course, once a person is prepared or equipped with all the skills, it definitely
Absolutely.
enhances his or her career
Yes.
prospects, I mean to say. And secondly, like increase efficiency. When I say career prospect, because in a business world especially, they are not just only looking for an employee who is having the required degrees, but also they are also looking for somebody who can communicate effectively,
Absolutely.
powerfully, right?
Absolutely.
So in that way, this particular program becomes important, and studying and understanding business communication becomes very important. And moreover, if you are into the business, you may be also given a leadership role. And in such kind of a scenario, it is important that you master your communication skills, and especially the business communication skills, keeping in view about representing your company well, and also motivating and directing your staff members, the colleagues, in a more effective way. That way, together, each of you
Yes.
can create an impact, in helping the company to grow further. And so that way, it also builds up
If
a
I
better
may-
professional image.
If we may say that, a nicely understood approach of business communication, no, you can win a $1 million contract.
Yeah,
And if you
exactly.
don't understand that, you lose it. So as simple as
exactly
that.
as
So
that. That's-
like that. So
Yeah,
we need to have a very, very special and very complete understanding of it.
Exactly. That's why I have also mentioned that the very word business itself is very profit-oriented,
Yes.
organizations. And if it is a profit-oriented organization, and you are sent to another, like with a proposal of a contract,
Absolutely.
say $100 or $1,000, and if you don't communicate your your project well, you may lose the opportunity of getting that project, right? And in that way, having or mastering effective communication skills very help. And more so, if you're in the business, you should be able to master the business communication skills, because there are different ways of communicating styles in the
Yes.
business world. As I have said, in the business world, it is more formal. You can't be casual, because it may be taken as a negative attitude, maybe casual, or the other person is not taking his or her, work seriously.
Yes.
So in that way, one may end up losing a lot of business.
Lots of
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that it's when we are talking about the mental makeup. That is very important. So let's discuss about what are the attributes, what are the most important attributes of business communication. I think we can begin with a sense of clarity.
Yes.
Like in a business environment, in a business communication, we need to have a very crystal clear, very sharp, very dynamic understanding of as to what my needs are, who are my stakeholders, who are my, what is my audience, and in what way. Like just like we say, what, how, when, all those WH factors, we need to be clear. So if we understand the situation well, if we understand the audience well, if we understand the channel part that we would use for the communication, I think then it will be, we will be better off. We will be in a position to take the agenda forward and do justice to that. When we are talking about clarity, I think it's about, like we can look at the 5 C's. Clarity, conciseness, where you have a time factor, which is very important. When, we can meet our friends in leisure, in a free manner, and we can take as much time as we want. But when you are in a meeting, when you are in a business scenario, the time is very limited. You need to understand that, you just cannot go, here and there. You cannot beat around the bush. You have to come straight to the point in a very understandable manner. You have to communicate that. So when I'm saying after clarity, conciseness, Shakespeare once said that brevity is the soul of wit. So if not too brief, but you have to be exact. So that exactitude is important in business communication. I mean, if you throw too much of information at your audience, I mean that may also create some kind of ambiguity. So clarity, conciseness, sharp, whatever is required, whatever is meaningfully understood there. So and it requires practice. Sometimes you develop this ability over the years, with sense of experience, with some challenging situations and opportunities that you come across in your life. So you read up more on that and as to how you do that. And then it is about another C that I can point it out here, that is completeness. Whatever you say has to be a rounded sense of communication, where you talk about beginning, middle, and end. You talk about what is the point that you are saying, how it will be achieved, and what are the aspects, what are the ingredients that will be used to accomplish that. So you prepare the whole package so that the audience goes and you have all the questions, all the aspects in your mind that can be asked during the process. If you have full package, if you have full preparation, if you have 360-degree view and all the dimensions covered, I think that will be able to, then you will be able to create the required impact.
Yeah, I do agree with what you have mentioned about. You have mentioned about clarity, conciseness, and the completeness, which are some of the key principles actually in a business or in a communication, right? And applying this in the business communication context, the clarity is important, because, of course, when we talk about communication, it's all about clarity. If you are having a clarity of thought, you are able to communicate in a more effective way, right? Likewise, in a business world, if you are able to understand what you are there for, right? What is the purpose of your agenda, to the place crucial. That you are visiting, or as I have also earlier mentioned about the proposals, unless and until you have a clarity, you will not be able to negotiate effectively. You will not be able to convey and negotiate effectively. That's the reason why having clarity is very important. Clarity of thought, Once you have the clarity of thought, I think it becomes easier, much more easier and impactful way to communicate to the other person more effectively. And then with clarity, you are also able to concise properly, right?
Absolutely.
Only when you are having the clarity of thought or clarity of the project, you are also able to concise it in a more effective way. So all the things that are not required, you omit them. You just focus on the purpose in a much more clarity. That way, the concise, and of course, clarity, conciseness, and also the completeness, right? Once you have a clarity, you are able to briefly explain or narrate.
Yes, indeed.
Completely, right? So all these principles, the clarity, conciseness, and the completeness becomes a very powerful principle
paramount, yes.
in the business. Of course, not only in the business communication, but also communication as a whole.
And Professor Yanthan, if I may add to this, like it may sound like when we are talking about business communication, it's about an individual, it's about micro agency, it's about teamwork. In business communication, in business environment, you'll have to put your act together with your teammates. You have other people also in the team. So developing a team spirit, developing a sense of collaboration, balancing your attitude, balancing it with the ideas, energies of other people in the team is crucial. So yes, when we are talking about clarity, completeness, and then conciseness, I think this idea of kind of team spirit,
collaboration,
collaboration is important, and also like where sometimes you don't become a boss, but you become a team member where you are ready to fit into somebody else. So and like that, when I'm saying this thing about teammanship, team spirit, and collaboration, I think that's leadership also comes in there. Like if you're a good team member, if you understand the role requirements of team building, you'll automatically look like a leader. So I think business communication in that sense can help you to leverage your leadership potential if you understand that. So you understand all the aspects, you understand the power of words, you understand the goldenness of silence also. So like you'll be able to understand. You work in a team, and then you emerge like a true leader.
Yeah, in a way, you have mentioned about leadership, right? The leadership, and I do agree with you, because, like, for example, when you have a clarity, definitely you are going to excel, right?
Yes.
Because once you have a clarity, you are going to work in that particular order. And when a person has clarity, that individual becomes more impactful. And when that person becomes impactful, they also acquire a leadership role in organizations, right? And in that way, when you acquire the leadership or in a leadership in the organization, since you have a clarity about what your organization it plans to achieve, the objectives, you are going to also, you cannot achieve alone. You need the collaboration, of the staff members. And that definitely, that particular understanding will help you to enhance your collaboration, in a way with people. And that way, I think it definitely will help in achieving the company's role. That's the reason why I think understanding this business communication becomes very important in order to help us.
I think a message has
boost
come.
Up our,
I have got a message, and the student is asking, like, how do you think that business communication helps in crisis management? Huh?
Well, it's all about clarity, right? So you are asking about how does it help in conflict. I think conflict, more into the conflict resolution, right? So most of the things most of the conflicts, be it at personal or professional, comes because of maybe lack of communication and lack of clarity, or maybe because of usage of the wrong communication style as well,
Yes.
which we have already discussed. So we have to know what is the reason behind. What is the reason behind? Is it the the leadership is in a way imposing too much of restraint or too much of controlling or not able to communicate well, or is the individual has been given a larger
I think that
responsibility?
gets covered in all the factors that we have already discussed, no? So like when we are saying clarity, purpose, when we are saying leadership and team spirit.
Exactly.
But we can, add the word courtesy, I think when we are courteous, when we are, we observe the environment closely, I think we are in a better position to not only just avoid conflict but overcome if anything comes like
Overcoming
that.
is more positive.
So, but I think that now we have got a suggestion that our time is just slipping away, and we need to conclude with a promise that we will connect to our learners, our students in particular, all our viewers. You have joined this program, so it is a great thing, and maybe we can.
Yeah. This conversation is going to continue further. This is just the introduction of the course Business Communication, BEGS 186. And this particular course is also very popular on SWAM. So for those of you who are not enrolled with International Open University or would like to just do a course on business communication, you can enroll yourself on SWAM. And so this discussion and conversation will continue further. And as we proceed further, we hope and expect that our discussions and conversations are going to make a meaningful contribution in one's life. So with this, we come to the end of our discussion for today on business communication. Thank you very much.